American football. Yes, I'm calling it American football. The rest of the world is calling it American football because what do we call football? Everyone else in the world calls not that. No, no. We're the only one who call it soccer. Yeah, it makes more sense that everything else is football, right? And not soccer. But apparently there's a reasoning for that and eh, who cares? Football. We are starting with the nickname the pigskin comes from the early days when the balls were made within inflated animal bladders, often from a pig and eventually encased in leather. Of course, we have the big teams, and some of your teams will not be on here. So, A, it's Friday, so the roasting is kind of like on, especially for sports. So, everybody, a fair warning now. We are in sports arena. So the rules of the game is we have fun, we go crazy, we may be a little vicious with each other, but at the end of the day, when we get off the field, we are partners. So fair warning, from here on out, I am not held responsible. I am, but when it comes to sports, you can see I'm wearing the Pittsburgh shirt. I know some of you are probably upset, but we have entered the sports arena. So, welcome to the sports arena and fair warning. American football. Early, early stuff. Cool pictures. So, statistically leading big people, the Dallas Cowboys, Indianapolis Colts, and all that fun stuff. Los Angeles Rams, Atlanta Falcons, well, they are based on different things. So for the Colts and Indianapolis, of course you know more than I, so I'm just laying over broad for everyone else who don't know. So it's a total yards ran in the season for those leaders, Dallas and Indiana. For the defensive strength, it's like Los Angeles Rams, Atlanta Falcons, and they're leading the category like a points allowed. Team value. Dallas Cowboys again are consistently ranked as the most valuable NFL team by the Forbes magazine. Historical success. The Pittsburgh Steelers with 6 Super Bowl wins are considered successful. It is a legacy. We are not currently doing anything worthwhile at the time. Yet, I have come to understand that the Steelers had A players for a minute, right? They gelled. They were just like oh, my first and only really encounter of like Pittsburgh being on top was 2010, I believe, 2011, 2011. I'm thinking, I don't know, I could be wrong, but between 2010 2012 there arena time frame. And it's like Hines and Ben and isn't there Palomalu, all those guys. Like they're like all it's just perfectly gelled team. And I realized for the longest time, like they're getting older and we are not getting any new guys and we just keep sucking. And I didn't understand it at all. But then I talked about it. I'm curious about learning. And what I came to understand a little bit is that first off, players when they get drafted, they're gonna want to go with people who can give them the most time. So if you already have an people already, way bigger than you, you're not gonna get any time, and you're a young dude, you need to you need to go and pounce and become the big dog. So we had a great team, but they are on their way out. So finally, I think Big Ben left. Now we have a whole brand new young people, legit my age. And I think that team is going to jail for a couple years. And then we will talk about the legacy of Pittsburgh. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm good, good, good. I'm hoping, hoping we do well. But the competitive side of me is like, no mercy for anybody. But wow. In the early 19th century, the two sports began to brash. So, I'm sorry. American football the very beginning of it, owes its roots to two main sports, soccer and rugby. Rudimentary form of soccer can be traced back to the 2nd and 3rd century BCE to a military exercise called Su Chu during the Han Dynasty in China. The exercise involved passing a leather ball through a small 1 foot wide opening using only the feet, chest, back, or shoulders, while while other players attempted to block the target. Early versions of rugby and soccer were played across Asia and Europe and traveled to North America in the 1600s. In the early 19th century, the two sports began to branch off from one another as the rules of each sport were formalized. Rugby diverged from soccer in the early 1800s, running with the ball. It had officially allowed the rugby schools rules in 1841, and in 1863, the Football Association was established in England. So early versions of American football developed on college campuses and preparatory schools throughout the early 1800s. But the game rules differed widely, with some versions of the game favoring kicking the ball and others favoring carrying it. Beginning in 1876 and continuing through the 1890s, a number of rules committees and football clubs met to establish a universal set of rules and regulations for the sport. Among the participants was Walter Chauncey Camp, a prominent collegiate athlete at Yale University. Camp offered a wide range of rules and regulations that distinguished the sport from rugby and that remain on modern American football's books, including the line of scrimmage, the system of downs, the quarterback position, the arrangement of offensive players, and an early point system, as well as various plays and strategies. For his work in organizing the sport, Camp became known as the father of American football. In 1870, Intercollegiate Football Association (IFA) began organizing games between teams at colleges across the Northeast United States. Athletic clubs, which were popular during this era, organized their own football teams and games. On November 12, 1892, in a game between the Allegheny Athletic Association and the Pittsburgh Athletic Club, William Helfinger, known as Pudge, a former Yale All-American guard, was paid £500 to play for Allegheny. This controversial decision made Helfinger the first professional football player. So Pittsburgh is so... Pennsylvania played a big role. I mean, we know the East, the original 13 colonies, played a huge role in the shaping of, well, America. But Pennsylvania is situated at the time between exact middle, like really very much like the middle, and it's a big territory. So even back then, it was a big territory. So it held a lot of influence, and even in schools, and again, we're getting with also geographically, it does help that they are rich in resources. But it's so fascinating to see how, you know, things are impacted for so many different aspects and they're just all connected and it just makes a prettier picture when you're aware of how each different thing, which is so completely different, connects somehow. That's really cool. This is the original, like more subdued, I think, fits of the day of at that time. And I'm like, yeah, I like the cheerleaders. I'm not gonna lie, they're cute. But like the modesty, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm here for that. I'm here for that a bit. It's just like maybe bring it back a little bit more. Just bring it up, because like when I remember like watching it, sometimes I'm like, ooh, yeah, they're fun, but maybe a little less skin. 1920 organizers established the APFA in Canton, Ohio, American Professional Football Association. It was later renamed the National Football League. 1960 brought another league called the AFL, American Football League. They emerged in 1966 and were constructed in two conferences, the American Football Conference and National Football Conference. In January 1967, the champions of each conference played against each other in the first Super Bowl. Rules and regulations. Gentlemen, I know you are far more aware than I. So please let me know later when we do discussions. Tell me some cool tidbits that I didn't know because this one really I'm not really, versed on this one as well. But the basics for people who are viewing this for the first time. Uh, the difference for some of these with NFL and like the college football league is just sometimes for the field, for example, the NFL is 100 yards long and 53.33 yards wide, and the end zone is a 10-yard area. And for people who do not know, players on the field at a time are typically 11 on each side. Types of players: receiver, running back, quarterback, kicker, and so many more that I do not know. The rules and regulations are critical to American football. Penalties for illegal contact, unsportsmanlike conduct, unnecessary roughness, or failure to start a play within the 40-second time limit between plays. This is a game of strategy. Study the opponent and also study yourself. Quarterbacks are very smart. There's a lot that they have to think about for these plays, and they have to remember their plays, and they also have to like adapt to, different situations. And we also need to keep in mind that like the field, it's not always, the best conditions, especially when we do not have enclosed arena, stadiums with I think a decent amount of them are not. And again, the Northeast really is where this began. So of course, the northeastern states are going to be prominent, and their fields are going to be, different than what the South is used to. I'm kind of curious how the difference of the heat of the South impacts players compared to the cold of the North impacting. You know what I mean? When they switch, I know that they try to do a good job of like making sure that they each play on each other's turf, so there are disadvantages at different times, I think. Mm. But I, ugh, it's so cool. It's so cool. And yeah, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of thinking that goes into this, especially for you know, our quarterbacks. I know they are the brain of the operation as far as like the actual play that's coming into being at that certain point in time. And of course, I'm aware of coaches and all the deets and stuff, but I'm not, gentlemen, I'm not going very deep into this one. I know you're ahead of me. So, the CFL has a 110-yard field with a 20-yard end zone, and the CFL allows offensive players on the line of scrimmage to move around before the ball is snapped. In the NFL, they must stand still. That's so cool to know that little bit of tidbit of information, because now when I watch football, I'm going to be way more knowledgeable and like be able to like pay even more attention and like appreciate how difficult of a job these guys have. They do have a hard job. They really do. Like we like to shit on them and be like, "Hey, your $1 million contract and all the stuff that you are doing and your bad behavior." But it's like they entertain us. They entertain us.
Here's Hilton blitzing off the slot again. Passer Hopkins. Oh my goodness. Did he catch that? Did he catch that? That's the touchdown catch of the year if that's good.
As Allen looks, takes off. He can run with it. Allen reaches for the pylon. And I think he has it. Wait for a signal.
Flag is out. Tannehill will throw down the field. Off the helmet, Julio Jones catches it. And let's see. They're going to say he was out of bounds.
The issue of concussions caused in the field, growing concern among observers. Football players endure a great deal of physical abuse and injury during play. And as research increasingly showed the long-term effects of concussions, many fans and former players called for improved player safety rules and equipment in the NFL and in leagues for younger players. Yeah, yeah, that thing I've heard a little bit about the concussions and like what toll that can take sometimes. It is a brutal sport. We line up and run into each other. What? What did like seriously? Um, what were we expecting to happen? We're like, let's line up and run into each other. Okay. Mm. But again, I still love it. It's just okay. Cool, bro. Cool story. So, the product of the NFL's late 1960s merger with the American Football League, the AFL, the Super Bowl began as a ceremonial championship game between the two rival league's top teams. Although it debuted with little fanfare and limited interest from the general public, the game eventually took hold and became both a hit with fans and a commercial success. In the years since the Green Bay Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in the inaugural edition of what was then referred to as the AFL NFL World Championship game in 1967. The Super Bowl has evolved into an American cultural event featuring championship football, extravagant halftime shows, headlined by the world's top entertainers, elaborate television commercials, and a yearly audience of millions. January 15, 1967 World Championship game, AFL's Kansas City Chiefs was 35-10. 35-10. Huh. I did not take that little tidbit fact correctly because I did not have your opponent for you. Apologies, people. Moving on. As the NFL AFL merger approached, at least one prominent football figure thought that the championship game needed a better name. Kansas City Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt thought that AFL NFL World Championship game was clunky and unattractive moniker. Um, Moniker is a fun word. It's just nickname. That's what that means. It's a word. So, anyways, or a name given to a thing, but usually it's like the trade name. That's clunky. Yeah. AFL, NFL. Yeah. World Championship game. That I had to like practice saying that. But Super Bowl, easy. So, how did he end up with this idea? He wanted to refer to the game as a bowl in the tradition of college contests such as the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl. If anybody knows about more about those, will you please let me know? I'm curious about that. Upon witnessing his young daughter playing with a toy called a Super Ball, he came up with the name Super Bowl. Although Hunt Although he began referring to the championship game as a Super Bowl around 1966, it did not really catch on until 1969, and it was officially named the Super Bowl at that time. So, the name change happened, and the third Super Bowl featured an epic showdown between the NFL's accomplished Baltimore Colts and the AFL's upstart New York Jets, when brash, young quarterback Joe Namath unexpectedly led the Jets to an upset victory over the Colts. He ignited a strong new interest in the Super Bowl that cemented its popularity with fans. Advertisers began creating unique Super Bowl commercials to promote their products in front of the massive viewing audience that tuned in to watch the game. Among the most memorable of these early Super Bowl commercials were Joe Namath's 1973 Noxzema commercial with actor Farrah Fawcett and the iconic 1979 Coca-Cola commercial, in which the notoriously Pittsburgh Steelers' Mean Joe Green tossed his jersey to a young fan. Over time, these Super Bowl commercials became so elaborate that they garnered as much interest and anticipation among viewers as the game itself. But the last part I wanted to put about this is that this is all about the fans. Like, seriously, it's all about the fans because we root for our favorite people. I look at these faces. Like, I'm gonna put this up for a minute while I talk because, like, come on. Like, it's just not enough time. I love this. I know. I've been like sneaking Steelers stuff in there and I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. Okay? You were warned. But Snoop Dogg with a terrible towel, you guys. But I know, I'm biased. I'm the host and I'm biased, but I don't know. But these other fans are pretty epic as well. I think, I mean, all these are my favorite. This one is awesome. This dude is like insane. He's like he looks like like the Irish dudes like when you're doing St. Patrick's Day. He seems like one of those guys. Like that's what he would be. Just like drunk and just like gone. Hmm. But this dude is like going to a Mexican party kind of with his hat. Almost it's like he kind of wants to go to like a fiesta, but like Green Bay Packers. Okay, Packers, come on. Like, I'm not gonna be nice to you. You're Packers, so eh. I just remember us getting beat by you, so I don't know what to tell you. And Ohio, you're not on here. I just tried to pick the ones that were prominent and the big ones. I think I hit the big ones, honestly. I did research this, okay? So don't come at me. Just come at the game and yeah. So if you're an Ohio person, I suppose you're gonna have to just ooh. But that's one for that. And then we're gonna do like the other video one that's like really more like fun one. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Let's go back and then go.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finessing on them with some counterfeit. Now I'm counting this. Mama Joe in my accountant. Matter of fact, I'm down with this. You say with my boo-babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, looking by you, the world with my pay stub. I know it's good, won't you sit it on my taste buds? Are you ain't too petty once you let me do the extras? Pull up on your block, then I break it down, then call it Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM funk. Heat up your per diem, you just gotta hate them funk. If I quit your BM, I still got Mercedes. If I quit the season, I still be the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke, put a baby in the be humble. Sit down.
Betty White. So here's some Betty White. I know it's an unexpected one.
Mike, come on! Mike, what is your deal, man?
Come on, man. You've been riding me all day.
Mike, you're playing like Betty White out there.
That's not what your girlfriend said.
Baby. Eat a Snickers.
Jake from Steak Farm.
For me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
It looks like a snow globe. Nuh-uh, it's real. Here, watch. Free Doritos at the office today? I think that's a yes!
Will I finally get that big promotion?
Promotion? Not in your future.